My name is Gavin Evans, and this is my review of the 2010 movie Date Night. I know this seems like a really random review, but the truth is, it is. I have no reason to review this movie. I just watched it a few weeks ago, and I felt like talking about it. So I just decided that once every week or once every 2 weeks, I'm just going to review a random movie that came out a while ago. It could be a movie I love, could be a movie I hate. Either way, I'll be talking about it because there was lots of older movies I would love to talk about. So let's get started with that now, with the 2010 movie Date Night. And while I was watching this movie, I didn't realize how stacked this cast was. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you got the two leads, Steve Carell and Tina Fey. Then you got Mark Wahlberg, Taraji P. Henson, Carmen, whose only other good role was in John Wick Chapter 2. You got William Fichtner, Leighton Meester, who I believe was in that terrible The Roommate movie. I could be wrong on that. Christian Rigg, Mark Ruffalo, James Franco, Mila Kunis, Bill Burr, Olivia Munn, Gal Gadot. This might be one of her first roles ever. Then John Paul Berensaw. Yeah, like that's a stacked cast. Like this has got a lot of names in it. Now, mind you, most of those actors aren't in the movie a ton. But still, when you see them show up, you're just like, wow. Like this is a lot of people in this movie. Really? James Franco? Mila Kunis? Everyone's in this movie, it seems like. But I will say that the two leads do a really good job. Steve Carell, I just love him as a comedic actor. I think he's actually really underrated in that front. And what I mean by that is, whenever people talk about him, they always talk about his performance in The Office. Rightfully so, because that is one of the best comedic performances ever. But he's really great in lots of other movies or shows like Crazy Stupid Love and Dan in Real Life. And this movie, he has a unique quality to him. So whenever he leads a movie, it doesn't just feel like another typical Hollywood lead. Steve Carell does have a unique quality to him, and I like watching movies where he's the lead. And Tina Fey's in this movie too, and she does an alright job as well. I do think that the two have good chemistry, and you do buy them as an old married couple who are tired all the time, who are just trying to make it work. And because of those two actors, this movie does end up working for me. It does have some funny moments, especially when the guy goes to tilt the gun on the side and Steve Carell's just like, oh, that's a kill shot, that's a kill shot. But lots of the time you do watch it and you're just like, I don't know if that joke's funny. There is a lot of jokes that don't particularly land. Most of those jokes would be the ones where they screw up and do something stupid and still end up being alive. I don't like that kind of humor. It takes me out of the movie all the time, and that's the case here. I'm just like, really? That did it? That's how you got away from that situation? I know I'm supposed to be laughing, but I just don't buy it. And maybe I gotta turn off my critical brain for those moments, but I find those moments to be more frustrating than anything else. Just this subgenre of people who are everyday normal people who end up in a life or death situation and they don't know what to do for a while and then they eventually become better at it by the end. I just don't typically buy these kind of movies, so I like it when it leans more into the absurd and goofy so they don't expect me to take it seriously. Like that one scene where the two vehicles are interlocked and they're getting chased down the street, that's a really funny over-the-top moment because it's not trying to be anything more than that. But at times where I'm supposed to be like, oh, yes, woof, they got away, they're just that smart. But really, they're not that smart, they just got lucky. That kind of stuff doesn't work for me. When they lean into the over-the-top stuff, that's when it works for me. I will say this was a very odd movie to watch this time because the truth is, I watched this movie quite a few times as a kid, but I was never allowed to watch the ending of this movie because they go to a strip club and every time they went to the strip club, mom and dad always fast forwarded the movie. So this was the first time I've actually seen this movie beginning to end. And the scene in the strip club, well, Steve Carell's wearing a mic and they're asking him to strip, I do find that scene to be really funny. So yes, I understand why I didn't watch it when I was younger, but it's still a funny moment. But my favorite aspect of this movie is just how poor marriage it is. You know, it's this old married couple, they're exhausted, they're trying to make things work, it's proving to have difficulties. But at the end, when Steve Carell's just like, if I could do it again, I would. It just warms your heart. I like it when movies are poor marriage, and I do think this movie ends on a really sweet, heartwarming note, and I love the message behind this movie. Overall, this movie does have funny moments. The cast, for the most part, does a good job, but this movie is also frustrating in bits. It's not as funny as it could be. The storyline behind it's really cliche, and you don't buy a lot of beats behind it. But the poor marriage message behind it all is enough to push it over to a 6 out of 10. Have you seen Date Night? Did you go see this movie on a date night? Let me know in the comments down below. Make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you subscribe. Stay tuned for some more videos soon, and Gavin out.